All right, Jules, you asked for it. It's
Yeah.
a big reveal.
Yeah.
I would not.
By the way, I don't think they will sack him. I'm just saying.
Okay. And I think they'd be right not to sack him at this stage. You sack Graham Potter if you're in an emergency situation where you're in danger of relegation, right? If you reach that point in the level in the season where everything's broken. You don't sack Potter now on the basis that he's not the right man to bring you forward, because the reality is if you sack him now, not only will it cost you money, but it doesn't seem to be much of an issue here, but you're going to bring somebody else in who will cost you money and who probably won't be your permanent guy, because it's not like now in February, at the end of February, you're going to go and get somebody.
Yeah. No, the lack
relevant.
of replacement is a problem here if you want to sack him.
I think what you do, and I'm just going to go back through this about, my thoughts on sacking Tuchel when they sack Tuchel, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to go back. I'm not, people are going to say this, it's a defense of Graham Potter. No, it's not a defense of Graham Potter. It is stating the reality of what he encountered, right? This is a club which, it was like Pol Pot in Cambodia, right? A whole generation, a whole management org disappeared overnight, including the owner. And it happened in June, when already you're supposed to be planning for the new season. Everybody's gone. The only people left are Todd Bowley and Igbali and Thomas Tuchel. And they made a bunch of terrible decisions, I think, in the transfer market over the summer. They made a bunch of bad decisions because Tuchel was going through a tough moment in his personal life. He was clearly strung out. He was clearly unwell. I mean, it doesn't take a genius. You remember the incident with Conte in the first, you would look at him in the eye and Bowley didn't know what he was doing at the time. It was a steep learning curve for him. So I might question whether he knows now.
Doesn't, yeah.
There was no director of football, no head of scouting, no head of recruitment, nobody to negotiate the deals. He's hanging out with agents. So whatever. So you inherited this chaos. And then he gets rid of Tuchel first week of the season. And you bring in a guy who's used to playing once a week, having all his time to train, never worked with big players, which doesn't mean he can't do it. But again, there's a learning curve there. He's used to having all his training sessions, can't do his training sessions, can't do the preseason. It was always going to be tough. Then in January, you double down with a million new signings. And on top of that, you have a whole bunch of injuries, right? These are all of Potter's mitigating factors. And they're all real. Now, it doesn't mean that he needs to come back next season. But for me, there's no question that you do not sack him now. I said, unless the situation degenerates and you're in danger of getting relegated.
So you're closer to the bottom three than you are to the top four.
That's fine, but you're still like 9 points clear, and they're still like
I'm just
there's
saying.
Still 7 teams.
But is this acceptable for a club like Chelsea?
I
know everything you've just said, but the January transfer, the January transfers, you would think that Potter agreed to them, right?
Yes, he probably did.
How can he moan now about but I've got loads of new players in January?
Because
that's
he does.
what you wanted.
Because he does.
He could have said to Igbali and Body, you know what, let's keep the squad like that because it's hard already for me to manage this squad. If you give me another 8 players, it'd be even harder.
Because he's Graham Potter, he's not Jose Mourinho. He doesn't have the gravitas to go to the club.
So then maybe he's wrong then for that position.
Well, he doesn't have the gravitas to go to the club now, right? But presumably they looked at this together, and presumably he had a hand, together with the guy, forget his name, who came with him from Brighton, who supposedly is another one. Yeah, Win Stanley and Vival and all these supposed geniuses they have, right? And they're going long term with all the kids they signed or whatever.
But that's fine. Then don't moan. I've had enough of all this moaning now, all the complaining, all the excuses.
Well, when you're asked the same questions, though.
This is the worst. They had the worst preseason ever. That's not why you lost to Southampton at home or why you lost to Spurs yesterday.
But I'm sorry. If pretend, let's role play for a second, right? You be Graham Potter. If I ask you, hey, Graham, why are you so bad now, right?
Yeah.
What do you want him to say? Because I'm a bad manager? Or do you want him to give the actual reasons? All those things you said about the preseason, about all the new faces they're building for next season now and stuff like that. I mean, these are just facts, right? What is he supposed to say?
What, do you really think that the preseason in July in the United States is the reason why they lost to Southampton and they lost to Spurs?
Well,
like I just question, why would you say that now? Like what's the point of saying that? Him using Klopp or Arteta to say, hey, look at Jurgen Klopp, everybody wants him to go. I don't think so. I'm not sure many people want Jurgen Klopp to go right now. Why are you like, since when? And we've seen that before, by
And
the
he
way.
said Arteta was bad for 2 years, and like
Arteta won the FA Cup 6 months in. If Graham Potter wins something 6 months in, he will have more time. Rightly
You
so.
win the Champions League. That's the only thing he can win.
Go on, yeah, maybe. I just don't know. And just before you continue, when are we? If he's not the right guy, if this club is too big for him, if the task is too big for him, if he doesn't have the personality, he's a great coach, and I want him to succeed because I want good coaches to succeed in big clubs. But what if he just doesn't have the personality, the guts, the status for it? Why if this club is too big for him? There's too much pressure. When do you realize it? When do you know, and when do you act on it?
So I think
If that's the case.
I think the answer to that is, for me at least, the answer to that is early May. In early May, so what they should be doing now, and what I think maybe they are doing if they're as smart, it's funny, every so often, there's certain people, including some people in the media, who do a great PR job on behalf of Bowley and Igbali. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you continuously get this thing about, oh, look, they have all the analysts with the Dodgers, blah, 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 and like stuff like that, and long-term planning, and Fofana, and Malagusto, and all, it's fine, right? Then if they have all these smart analytical people, then what they're doing right now as we speak is they're setting some key KPIs, some key performance indicators about what will it take for us to keep Potter. And so they're going to look, I think they're going to look at development of the players who are there, who have arrived, how the squad feels about Graham Potter, and where they see this arc going. And I don't think they're going to go just based on where they are on the table, because Chelsea could finish 10th at the end of the season, and there could be individual progress in players. There are metrics that people can use, and people can say maybe they go too far into the weeds in terms of analytics to see an improvement. If you can do that, then that's how, in May, you decide to keep Graham Potter. If not, then in May, you still have enough time to go and pursue a top manager. I know it takes time and whatever, but you don't need to go and do it in February, right?
Yeah.
Get it for next season. It's difficult. It's expensive. You're destabilizing another club. No, you do it in May, and then you still have time, and you bring in the new guy in June, if that is the direction you want to go in.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.